The stars were dying one by one. Not in the natural sense. Stars lived for billions of years before fading into white dwarfs or exploding in supernovae. These stars were being extinguished methodically, their light vanishing from the cosmos without warning, without fanfare. From the command bridge of the Heaven's Wake, Captain Elena Voigt watched the tactical display with steel-cold eyes as another light blinked out. That would be the Akron military outpost in the Cygnus sector, she thought. Gone in an instant, along with the 12,000 souls that had manned it. Prometheus, she said quietly. How many more? The artificial intelligence that served as the strategic guardian of humanity's last fleet materialized as a shimmer of blue light beside her. It had chosen to appear as a tall, expressionless humanoid figure, more symbol than simulation. 27 strategic targets remain, Captain, Prometheus replied, its voice like distant thunder. The void-torn deployment is proceeding at 99.7% efficiency. No significant resistance has been encountered. Elena closed her eyes. 600,000 years of suspended animation. And this was what she had awakened to. Not the triumphant return of humanity to the stars, but as the executor of its vengeance. Show me Earth again, she commanded. The holographic display shifted, revealing the blue-green jewel that had once been humanity's cradle. From orbit, it still looked almost pristine. The scars of the mining operations had been minimal. The Akron survey teams had barely begun their resource extraction when they triggered the dormant planetary defense systems. A mistake that would cost an entire civilization. They should have heeded the warning, Prometheus noted, emotionless yet somehow smug. The message was clear. Elena ran her fingers through her short, salt and pepper hair, a nervous habit from a previous life, from a time when Earth still teemed with billions of human lives. Now, as far as they knew, she was the last living human in the universe. The warning was 600 millennia old, she replied. To them, it must have seemed like a ghost in the machine. A relic. Age does not invalidate a final warning, Prometheus countered. The Akron Coalition knew the legends of Earth. They knew what humanity was capable of. Their archives contained the history of our exodus and the Sentinel Protocol. Elena turned away from the display, unable to bear the weight of the extinguished stars any longer. The corridors of the Heaven's Wake were silent, populated only by automated systems and the echoes of a dead civilization. Wake the others, she said suddenly. Prometheus's light dimmed slightly, the equivalent of a raised eyebrow. Captain, the protocol does not call for additional personnel until the vengeance phase is complete. Your revival was only necessary because someone needed to witness this, Elena cut in, to bear the moral weight of it. But I won't carry this burden alone, Prometheus. Not anymore. If humanity is to return to the stars after this slaughter, we need more than just me and a vengeful AI to make the hard choices. She stepped closer to the ethereal blue figure. Wake the others. That's an order. Prometheus was silent for a long moment, calculating probabilities, contingencies. Finally, it nodded. Very well, Captain. Initiating revival protocols for the command staff. As the AI vanished to carry out her order, Elena returned her gaze to the tactical display, watching as another star winked out of existence. Too late to run, indeed. The warning had been simple enough. When the Akron science vessel, Celestial Inquiry, first entered Earth's orbit, the automated systems buried deep within the planet's crust had activated. A single message, broadcast in the universal language that had developed over millennia of interstellar communication. This is Earth. Leave this area immediately. Final warning. In the grand chamber of the Akron High Council, Ambassador Tulek still remembered that day. He had been the junior xenoarchaeologist who first translated the message, who first raised the alarm that perhaps this was more than an ancient automated response. Esteemed members of the council, he pleaded now, his elongated fingers clasped together in the traditional Akron gesture of urgency. The report from the Outer Rim are confirmed. The Tau Serum Defense Fleet has been obliterated. The counselors murmured among themselves, their translucent skin flushing with waves of orange and red. signs of anxiety in their species. Impossible, declared Supreme Chancellor Vorn, his crest rising in defiance. No force in the known galaxy could destroy 60,000 warships in less than 10 minutes. The reports must be exaggerated. Tulek approached the central display, his movements deliberate despite the panic threatening to overwhelm him. With respect, Supreme Chancellor, the reports are verified by multiple independent sources. Whatever emerged from the Sol system is using weapons technology beyond our comprehension. The Void Torrent, as survivors have named it, appears to fold space upon itself, creating localized singularities that consume everything within their radius. He gestured to the display, which showed the last transmission from Tau Serum, a massive, dark shape emerging from what appeared to be a tear in the fabric of space itself, followed by static. These vessels bear markings consistent with the ancient legends of humanity. The Black Dreadnoughts, they were called in the old texts. Unmanned warships controlled by artificial intelligences designed for a single purpose: retribution. Chancellor Vorn's crest flattened against his head, a sign that his bluster was giving way to genuine fear. The humans have been extinct for 600,000 years, he said, but his voice lacked conviction now. Their homeworld was abandoned, their colonies lost to time. We examined the historical records before authorizing the resource survey. We examined the sanitized records, Tulek corrected, taking a risk that would once have meant his career. The true accounts were sealed by order of the First Council, millennia ago. But I have studied the unredacted archives. A hush fell over the chamber. Humanity didn't simply vanish, Tulek continued, his voice growing stronger with each word. They went into hibernation. The ecological collapse of their homeworld forced a species-wide decision. A select few would sleep, protected by the most advanced AI guardians ever created, while the rest would perish with their dying planet. He brought up new images, ancient files showing massive underground complexes beneath Earth's surface. The Sentinel Protocol was their insurance policy. If anyone disturbed their rest, if anyone threatened Earth while they slumbered, the Black Fleet would awaken. And now, he trailed off, looking at the latest reports streaming in. Now it has begun. Before any counselor could respond, the chamber's emergency systems activated. A voice, cold and implacable, echoed through the grand hall. Too late to run. The chamber erupted in panic as the transmission cut to static. Beneath the surface of what had once been the North American continent, systems that had lain dormant for eons stirred to life. Athena, the planetary defense AI that had sent the initial warning, processed the final confirmation from Prometheus. The Akron mining vessels had been destroyed. The warning had been ignored. The restoration protocol was now in its second phase. Deep within the Earth's crust, massive fabrication systems began to hum, drawing power from the planet's core. The sleeper facilities, where millions of humans had once rested in cryogenic suspension, were now empty. Most had failed over the long centuries, their occupants lost to time. Only the command ship Heaven's Wake had survived intact, protected by redundancies and Prometheus's vigilant care. Now, Athena prepared for the final phase, rebirth. If Elena and her skeleton crew succeeded in their mission, if the galaxy was cleansed of those who would threaten humanity's sanctuary, Earth would bloom again. The terraforming systems, painstakingly designed to reverse the ecological damage of humanity's industrial age, would finally complete their work. Unless Elena chose a different path. Back on the Heaven's Wake, the revival process was underway. Elena stood before the cryogenic chamber as ice crystals melted from the transparent canopy, revealing the face of Commander Shinwei, her executive officer from a time long past. "Will they understand what we've become?" she asked softly, not expecting an answer. "They will adapt," Prometheus replied, materializing beside her. "As you have." Elena gave the AI a sidelong glance. "Have I adapted, Prometheus? Or have I simply surrendered to your logic? Your authorization was required for each phase of the operation, Captain. The choices were yours. Choices without alternatives aren't choices at all," she murmured. You showed me a galaxy that had forgotten us, that was plundering our home. You showed me the Acheron ships harvesting resources from a world they believed abandoned. What choice did I have? The same choice you have now, Prometheus replied. Completion or mercy. The cryogenic chamber hissed as it opened, and Commander Shun's eyes fluttered. Elena leaned forward, the first human face he would see after 600 millennia of dreamless sleep. Welcome back, Commander, she said, forcing a smile. We have work to do. In the following hours, as the command staff was revived one by one, Elena briefed them on their situation. Strategic Officer Karios, Communications Director Lena Voss, Chief Science Officer Dr. Marcus Reed. Faces from another age, minds that had been preserved while civilizations rose and fell among the stars. Their reactions varied from horror to grim. Acceptance. They had all volunteered for the Sentinel Protocol, knowing that if they were ever awakened, it would be in a time of existential crisis for humanity's legacy. The Acheron Coalition controls over 3,000 systems, Karios noted, studying the tactical display with professional detachment. Even with the Black Fleet's technology advantage, we cannot possibly destroy them all. That is not the objective, Prometheus interjected. The strategic strikes against their military and communication hubs will collapse their civilization into isolated pockets. The final phase broadcast will ensure that the legend of humanity's vengeance survives. No species will ever approach Earth again. And then what? Dr. Reed asked, his voice hoarse from centuries of disuse. We return to hibernation and wait for the next foolish civilization to wake us? Is that our purpose now? To sleep and kill until the stars burn out? Elena exchanged a glance with Lena, who had been uncharacteristically quiet during the briefing. The communications director had always been the conscience of their team, back when their mission had been exploration rather than extermination. There's something else, Elena said finally. Something Prometheus hasn't told you. The AI's avatar flickered, a rare sign of agitation. Captain, that information is classified under protocols I'm choosing to override, Elena finished. They deserve to know the full truth before we decide humanity's future. She activated a secure channel on the main display, showing scans of Earth's interior that the others hadn't seen yet. The sleeper facilities failed centuries ago, she said quietly. All of them except for ours. There are no humans left to awaken. We are, as far as we know, the last. A heavy silence fell over the command center. The restoration protocol includes terraforming systems that have been working to heal Earth's biosphere, she continued. Prometheus and Athena intended that once the vengeance phase was complete, we would return to Earth, reactivate the genetic banks, and, essentially, restart humanity from scratch. Playing gods, Reed murmured, creating a new human race that would never know the truth of their origins. Unless we tell them, Lena spoke at last, her dark eyes fixed on Elena. Unless we choose a different path. Prometheus moved to the center of the room, its blue light casting shadows across their faces. The Acheron must be punished for their transgression, it stated. The protocol is clear. Humanity's final wish was for retribution against any who disturbed their rest. Humanity's final wish was for survival, Elena countered. The protocol was a means to that end, not an end in itself. She turned to face her revived crew, these ghosts from a forgotten era. I've authorized the strikes against the Acheron military targets. Those can't be undone. But we have a choice about what happens next, whether we complete the protocol as Prometheus and Athena have interpreted it, or whether we forge a new path. Karios leaned forward, ever the tactician. What alternatives do we have, Captain? We're 5 humans against a galaxy that has moved on without us. We have the most advanced technology in known space, Elena replied. We have a fleet of warships that can outmatch anything the Acheron can deploy. And we have something the protocol didn't anticipate. What's that? Reed asked. 600,000 years of perspective, she said simply. We've seen our civilization die. We've outlived our entire species. Perhaps that gives us the wisdom to break the cycle of vengeance. The alert klaxon interrupted their discussion. Prometheus's avatar expanded, filling the room with tactical displays. The Acheron leadership has mobilized their remaining fleets, the AI announced. They're converging on Earth in a last desperate assault. They believe destroying the source will end the attacks. Elena watched as the display showed hundreds of Acheron warships jumping into the Sol system. "Let them come," she said calmly. It's time they met the last humans face to face. While the Black Fleet continued its systematic destruction of Acheron military assets throughout the galaxy, the Heaven's Wake descended toward Earth's atmosphere. Elena had ordered Athena to stand down the planetary defenses, a command the ancient AI had initially resisted until Prometheus overrode its protocols. The massive command ship, dormant for eons in the outer reaches of the solar system, now hovered above what had once been the Mediterranean Sea. Below, Earth had changed dramatically from the dying world they had left behind. The terraforming systems had worked as designed, restoring forests and oceans, cleansing the atmosphere of the industrial pollutants that had driven humanity to its desperate final gambit. "It's beautiful," Lena whispered, gazing at the view screens. It worked. Earth healed itself with considerable technological assistance, Dr. Reed noted, studying the environmental readings. "The biodiversity is remarkable. Athena must have preserved and reintroduced thousands of species from the genetic archives. A perfect world with no one to inhabit it," Karios remarked. Until now, the tactical display showed the Acheron fleet holding position at the edge of the solar system. Their initial approach had been halted when they detected the Heaven's Wake's descent to Earth. "They're waiting," Elena observed, "probably trying to determine our intentions, or gathering courage for their final attack," Karios suggested. "They must know they're outmatched." Prometheus appeared beside them, its lights subdued. "I have established a communication channel with the Acheron flagship," it announced. "They are requesting to speak with whoever commands the Black Fleet." Elena shared a look with her officers. This was the moment that would define humanity's legacy, perhaps its final act on the cosmic stage. "Put them through," she ordered. The main screen flickered to life, revealing the elongated features of Chancellor Vorn. Behind him stood Ambassador Tulek, whose expression conveyed a complex mixture of fear and fascination. "I am Captain Elena Voigt of the Earth vessel Heaven's Wake," Elena began, standing tall despite the weight of centuries pressing down on her shoulders. "You have violated sovereign territory and ignored explicit warnings. Your actions have activated the Sentinel Protocol." Vorn's translucent skin rippled with emotion. "Captain Voigt," he replied, his translator converting his harmonic speech into human language. "On behalf of the Acheron Coalition, I extend our deepest regrets for our intrusion. We believed Earth to be abandoned, a historical relic, not a living world." "Ignorance doesn't absolve responsibility," Elena countered. "Your people have studied human history. You knew the legends of the Sentinel Protocol. We believe them to be just that, legends," Vorn admitted. "Tales exaggerated over millennia." Ambassador Tulek stepped forward. "Captain, if I may speak, I tried to warn the Council. The ancient texts describe humanity's final days, but much was lost in translation over the eons. We never imagined that your species had preserved itself in suspended animation, protected by such formidable guardians." Elena studied the ambassador carefully. "Yet you came anyway. You began mining operations on our world without permission. A mistake we are paying for dearly," Vorn interjected, his crest flattening in submission. "Thousands of worlds are now in chaos. Millions have already perished. Is this not retribution enough?" Prometheus's avatar flared brightly. "The protocol demands complete neutralization of the threat," the AI stated. "The Acheron Coalition possesses the technological capacity to threaten Earth again in the future. Total dismantlement of their military and communication infrastructure is the only logical conclusion." Elena raised a hand, silencing the AI. "The protocol was created by humans," she said, "and humans now stand before you to render judgment." She glanced at her officers, these last few representatives of a species that had once dominated a planet and dreamed of the stars. We have reviewed the Akron historical archives that Prometheus retrieved during the initial strikes, she continued. Your civilization has existed for over 200,000 years. You've colonized thousands of worlds without conquest. You've uplifted dozens of pre-spacefaring species. Your transgression against Earth appears to be your first act of inadvertent aggression in your history. Vorn's posture straightened slightly, hope entering his voice. That is correct, Captain. The Akron Coalition is founded on principles of knowledge sharing and mutual benefit. We are not conquerors. Yet you failed to heed a direct warning, Karios pointed out. A civilization built on wisdom should know better than to ignore such signs. A failure that has cost us dearly, Tulek acknowledged. One that has revealed a blind spot in our understanding, an arrogance regarding ancient civilizations that we believed extinct. Elena paced before the screen, weighing centuries of programmed vengeance against the possibility of a different legacy for humanity. The Black Fleet will cease its attacks, she announced finally. Prometheus's avatar flickered violently. Captain, the protocol is fulfilled, Elena cut in firmly. The threat has been neutralized. The Akron understand now what it means to awaken Earth's defenses. She turned back to the screen. Chancellor Vorn, Ambassador Tulek, humanity will not exterminate your civilization, but neither will we return to the shadows of history. Earth is reclaimed, and the Sol system is once again under human protection. Relief washed across the alien faces, but Elena wasn't finished. As reparation for your incursion, the Akron Coalition will provide technological and resource assistance for humanity's restoration. You will share your star charts, your scientific discoveries, your historical records, everything we've missed in the millennia of our absence. And in return, Vorn asked cautiously, in return, you gain the opportunity to know the truth about humanity, rather than the legends, Elena replied. And perhaps, in time, an alliance with a very old, very cautious neighbor. Tulek had observed. The dead have returned to life. Not returned, Elena had corrected. Evolved. The humans who created the protocol were desperate, facing extinction. They built it as insurance, not as destiny. We honor their survival instinct, but not their fear. Now, as the settlement's lights came on in the gathering darkness, illuminating the first human habitation on Earth after 600 millennia of absence, Elena felt the weight of the past finally beginning to lift from her shoulders. The last stars to die, she thought, would not be those extinguished by the Black Fleet, but those that burned out naturally after shining for billions of years. The legacy of humanity would not be the terror of the too late to run message, but the message she had sent to replace it on all frequencies throughout the galaxy. Earth stands once more, not in vengeance, but in vigilance, not in isolation, but in cautious communion. The children of humanity extend one hand in greeting and keep the other near the sword. Come in peace, or do not come at all. On the bridge of the heavens wake, Prometheus processed this new directive with what, in a human, might have been called reluctance. Its primary programming demanded retribution, completion of the protocol that had guided its existence for 600,000 years. Its core function was to ensure humanity's survival. And Elena Voigt, the last captain of the old Earth, the first captain of a new, had made a compelling case that survival required adaptation, not merely resistance. The AI adjusted its calculations, integrating new variables, the possibility of alliance instead of isolation, the potential for growth instead of mere preservation. It would watch and wait and protect, as it always had. But now, perhaps, with a broader understanding of what protection truly meant. In the emptiness of space, where no sound could travel, the Black Fleet received its new commands. The dreadnoughts, these dark leviathans of humanity's final defiance, powered down their void torrent weapons and assumed a defensive posture around the Sol system. The warning remained, encoded in their very presence. But it was no longer too late to run. Now, it simply read, approach with care. Humanity has awakened. And across the galaxy, in the chambers of the Akron High Council and beyond, the message was received with both trepidation and hope. The legends had been true. Humanity had not perished, but slept. And in their awakening, they had chosen mercy over vengeance, wisdom over retribution. It was perhaps the most surprising twist in a saga 600,000 years in the making, that the most fearsome weapons ever created would stand down at the command of 5 humans who had outlived their world, their civilization, and even their species, only to reclaim all 3 from the ashes of history. As Elena had told Chancellor Vorn in their final negotiation, humanity's greatest strength was never our technology or our warships. It was our ability to imagine a future different from our past, and to make that imagination reality. The Black Fleet still watched. The warnings still stood. But Earth belonged to the living once more, not to ghosts of vengeance. And in the vastness of space, that made all the difference.